How does AI fit into this legacy of 150 years of Berlitz's teaching languages?
That's a great question. It's a huge legacy with a wonderful history, a lot of impact in language learning and teaching. Obviously, when new technologies come out, it always kind of makes the language learning experts pause, consider how can we use this? Should we use it? So those kind of questions definitely come up. And AI in particular, I think, is the biggest change since the ability to have a lesson online with video, with the internet. It's kind of the next big shift to like opening up the possibilities for how we can do language learning. How do we incorporate that? I think the way that we tend to approach it is that slowly, cautiously, with lots of testing, lots of planning. The advantage that we have because of our history is that we do have a long list of historical expertise on how to teach a language. And then we can really look at AI, find the different tools. Because as you know, AI does lots of different things really, really well. So it's really a matter of us strategically looking and evaluating each of those to see which one is going to fit a particular need of our customers. So we know what our customers want, we know what they're struggling with, we know the things that they would like to do to help improve their overall learning experience. So then it's just a matter of us kind of going through all the different options. Do we go in-house? Do we partner with people? Is it a combination of both? And then it's a matter of really strategically trying to find ways where we can offer those to our users to kind of test, is this meeting that need? If you want to practice more conversation or you need pronunciation help. So it's a much more strategic kind of slow, not slow in the sense of like we're taking our time, but being very cautious to make sure that what we're adding is true value and not just kind of throwing things on the platform because they're hip and trendy and cool and everyone has AI now. So we want to be very intentional about it. And we have been, and we've been incorporating those types of resources since like 2019, really, like speech recognition being the first big thing that we incorporated. I think the thing to keep in mind is the training component with AI. What distinguishes AI usage from company to company is how well it's trained, how well the guardrails you put around AI to focus it on a specific goal. I think sometimes people make the mistake of just opening it up to people. Oh, go and learn, it'll help and it'll correct, but then you get issues. So I think, again, the beauty of having this long history of teaching languages that we know we are pedagogical experts, and what we do and what we pride ourselves on is really taking the time to train our AI tools specifically for a task. Instead of just having like one tool that does everything, we train it individually. Like, for example, when we released a speaking tutor, its only goal was to help you have a conversation about your speaking goal. Because as you know, the Berlitz's method is that after each lesson, you come away with a speaking goal. So how could we use AI to help learners practice that? And to do that, we trained it to only speak on that speaking goal in the target language. So for example, if I was learning English and I started speaking Spanish to it, it would correct me. It would not start speaking Spanish to me. It would not translate what I said into English so I could have the conversation. I've seen tools that do that, which is kind of embarrassing. But that it's a reality. So what we had to do is be very, very cautious with our learning experience team, going through, writing up the prompts, writing the guardrails, and then testing it over and over again to make sure that it's not going to go off script, if you will. It's like if you think of it almost like you're training an actor to be within character, to be on script, and they're not allowed to go off script too much. And that's really what we've done. But we've done that for each individual speaking goal. So we have hundreds and hundreds of speaking goals in a lesson. So we're not just giving one AI that says, okay, learn all these. It's targeted specifically. And I think that's a real distinction for us. It gives us a way to control the quality of the AI. And it also helps us to give better feedback because the AI is listening to the conversation. It's pointing out the areas where the student can learn and get better. And that's one of the most powerful things about AI in general. It can give you that feedback in a very objective, clear way. Like, you didn't use this word, this pronunciation wasn't quite correct. And that is a huge value add that our customers are appreciating in general.
Great. You mentioned our AI speaking tutor. How does the new AI-powered speaking work in practice? Many language learning apps celebrate leaderboard scores. So why does Berlitz's emphasize speaking time instead?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of competitors or a lot of apps in general, even non-language learning apps, talk about streaks, or the amount of time you've spent learning or how often you log in. And don't get me wrong, those are important. Whenever you're learning something new, the consistency of doing something has an impact on your language learning for sure. But the concept of a streak, while it is helpful in one sense, it's not actually a reflection of your language learning progress. It doesn't actually tell you anything about your ability to actually do the thing you're learning to do. So we focus on speaking time, or how well you are doing at actually communicating. So within this, all of our tutors, if you're mispronouncing words, we tell you what ones you're struggling with. And then what we do is then we reinforce that, like, come on, you can do it again, keep trying. We try to give you that opportunity, because speaking time is really the value that we're trying to add, because that's true progression, right? Like it's an actual indicator that you have got your fluency is getting better, your pronunciation is getting better, and that can only happen with speaking time going up. So when we released the speaking tutor initially, we've seen an increase of like the average time people are spending on our learning platform, and they're averaging a speaking time of anywhere from 3 to 6 hours a month, which is a lot more than most of our competitors do, because they're tracking like click, if it's like multiple choice, like, okay, you've selected the right response to this question, whereas we're saying, did you speak the right response? Did you say it clearly? Was it intelligible? That's a very big difference than, oh, I've clicked through everything. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference there. We're refining it as we go. We're trying to get better and better in how we communicate this to both our learners and to the public of this is why this is important. But as AI improves and as it learns, it even gets better and better. Like, the word overall was 95% intelligible, but you're struggling with the A in the middle. Like, doesn't quite sound right. Yes, it's intelligible. You can speak the language, but we can help you get even better, like really focusing in on that. And that's just something that's so great. Anytime, anywhere you can do this. But again, when we have the speaking tutors and we have even just the speech recognition within the learning experience, it is not about how long it takes you or how many times you went into the lesson or logged in. It's about, are you actually speaking and making progress? So we see that overall, and we've seen the increase in average amount of time people are spending speaking with people, and also with the instructor, because that's the other piece. Like, we're building you up to speak with a person. Ultimately, that's why you learn a language, not to talk to our cool AI tools, but to actually communicate with people. But that's why it's so important to us. The pronunciation and the speaking time is our kind of gold standard for progress, true progress in the actual goal.
So you talked about fluency and really practicing the speaking. So what impact does consistent speaking practice have on learner confidence and real-world fluency?
That's a really good question. You nailed it when you said confidence. I think that is that. Let's be very blunt. Learning a language is hard, and it takes a lot of time. It takes discipline, and it takes kind of getting over yourself and out of your comfort zone to say words that are foreign to you, that you don't know. And even if you don't perfectly understand it, you're still trying to say it in the right way that it's intelligible to the person or AI that you're speaking to. So that's really where it helps so much, is to be able to give everyone the opportunity to practice as much as they want and to prepare. And yes, while I said it is optional, we've seen it go up and up and up. AI does kind of make it a lot easier to mess up. And there's not that human to human kind of like, oh, I'm gonna look like an idiot, or I'm gonna say something wrong. That's okay. This is a safe space for you to just go out there and try, and the AI is gonna encourage you. It's gonna help you, and it's not gonna be offended. Those kind of things is really where I think the value add is very clear. I remember when we launched the speaking tutor, a few weeks after we were getting user feedback, and the amount of feedback that was, oh, thank you, this was so helpful. I feel so much more confident in speaking the language, other than like just learning words, right? Because like, unfortunately, I think part of the messaging globally and marketing around language learning has been shaped by other players who aren't really about speaking goal. They're about learning, like your word count. Great, learning new words is part of learning a language, but can you use it? And can you use it in the right way? And is it intelligible? And I think that's, again, the differentiator here, is that we're focusing much more on that. If you know 100 words, but are only intelligible in half of them, whereas if I know half of them, but I'm intelligible in all of them, who's making more progress, right? Who's probably more confident in their language learning ability? It's the one who has put in the time, practiced, had coaching, both from an AI and from a human. Those things married together is a really powerful combination. Thinking that our tools have been trained strategically with all of our historical expertise, I think also builds confidence. So when our users go in, they know who we are. They know that we're serious about learning, serious about language. And yes, it's going to take time. It's going to take dedication, but we'll get you there. We've provided these different tools that if they work for you, use them however much we've seen, and I think most people agree, that while AI is wonderful in the sense that it's objective in tracking, giving you feedback on what you're not doing, it's not very motivating necessarily. People still have a cap on how much they can engage with AI before they kind of burn out. And it's usually like 3 to 8 minutes, right? And then you're done. It's still good. You should do that. That's part of your language learning. It's just not a replacement for actually speaking to a person. And yes, I've seen amazing avatars where they can read what's behind you. I remember doing some pilots and it was an amazing tool. You could tell that I had a guitar hanging behind my corner and that was really great, but it still wasn't human. It was really close. It looked great, but it wasn't quite there. And there's this sense of like nuance that it just doesn't quite have. If it can see that I'm struggling in my facial expression or those kind of things where the instructor, especially if they've built a rapport and a relationship with that particular learner, after years and years of doing it, they see that maybe it's the way that you're shaping your tongue or, the way that, you look frustrated, or they can see that you're trying hard and they can encourage you with nuance and specific instruction that is just another level above what an AI can do right now. I don't think AI will ever get there. And if it does get there, it's still not going to be the same. It's not a human. And like I've said before, you learn a language to speak to people. I think nuance, motivation is hugely a gap for AI right now. Because in a way, it's like all AI can really do is tell you where you're at and tell you where you need to go, which is, for some people that might be motivating, but then the real person saying, hey, you're doing a great job. And it's a person telling you that. So like the example I gave earlier where I was testing out a different tool where I was learning Spanish, but I spoke English to it, to the AI. It translated my English into Spanish and said, great job. It's like, that's not, I failed. I'm not speaking the right language. Like, that can't be right. And again, that's an extreme example, but obviously I know that was a fail, or AI doesn't do that. But I think that's where there's a sincerity that just AI doesn't have, and that human connection really does make the difference. And also, I think over time, the instructor really gets to know the person, sees the progress, and they can really kind of pinpoint the areas that person needs to focus on. Ultimately, what we're hoping to get to is a place where if I'm having these interactions with an instructor and they say, oh man, your pronunciation is great, fluency on this, you should go practice this. Your grammar is a little bit off here. Go use this AI tool to practice. And when we speak next time, we'll see if it's improved. Like, so they can give those kind of guidance that we need. It's the same thing with like when I was learning an instrument and I was learning a piece, it sounded right, but maybe I was doing something that made it harder for me to play that. Something that is not really heard, but it's seen. And it's like, well, if you just move your hand this way, it'll be way easier for you and you will be more confident. It's more motivating too. That was great. Here, let's make some tweaks and it'll be even better for you. I think that's where you have that blend between the AI and the humans, that AI is not there yet. And I don't think it's going to get to a point where it would ever replace the need for that kind of that connection with a person or a trained person, right? Like an instructor who knows what they're doing. But even talking in social groups, right? Because that's something that we have on Berliz too, where we give you the opportunity to join group classes to talk about a specific situation. Even just hearing other people learning and not struggling, but doing it with you is also motivating. And if you were in a room with AI people faking, you would know it's just not as sincere, it's just not as human. And I think that's where you have to have that combination.
So we can say currently the AI as well as the human instructors really complement on each other within the Berliz experience, right?
Yeah. It's a both and. It's not an either or in our mind. To be seen as a place for lifelong learners, people who not just want to learn a language, they want to learn the culture, and they want to keep going. Maybe when you've finished, you've reached level 10 of English, you're like, oh, I want to learn Spanish now. And you know where to go, you know how to do it, and you're really specific. So I see Berliz being like the one place, the one-stop shop for my professional development, because I see us expanding into other things ultimately outside of language where our expertise makes sense. Creating a system that is easy and intuitive for our customers to use. If you're serious about your own professional development, learning languages, whatever, that we would be seen as like the first stop on your shopping list of who you're going to go to. Making it easy for you to do that and using AI to personalize and just really kind of hold you accountable, helping you achieve your goal with a human coach or an instructor helping you get there with that kind of both and approach. That's kind of where I hope we're going to be very